In this video, we're going to talk about Fisker. Over the past few months, the stock price of Fisker peaked around $32 before tumbling back down to $12 and stabilizing at around $13 as we speak. If you're someone holding Fisker stock or simply wondering whether now is a good time for a quick flip, then keep watching this video until the end because we're going to talk about opportunities that may exist within this company. Alright, so let's begin by talking about what Fisker does. Basically, it is an EV startup just like NIO, Lucid, and Polestar. It's one of those companies that has cropped up in the wake of EV craze last year. A few weeks ago, the collaboration between Fisker and Apple's manufacturer Foxconn has shot up the stock price to new highs, but of course, that momentum didn't last. And we're now about where things were back in September of 2020. As an initial assessment, I would say that Fisker never managed to really impress the market. That may be partially caused by the fact that Henrik Fisker, the founder of this company, has already failed before, and therefore doesn't have the same kind of clout compared to those with a clean slate like Lucid. Personally, I consider the previous failures as a badge of honor in this field, because it shows that the team has learned some important lessons in operating a company, at least what not to do. For the moment, most analysts in the market point out that while there is little more than PowerPoint presentations and designs at the current stage, the company should be considered as a less expensive and more practical Lucid motor, with its Fisker Ocean selling at around $50,000 once it's commercialized, compared to around $91 for Lucid Air. Now, of course, I'm just talking about the audience or the potential customers that each company is aiming at, because comparing Fisker to Lucid otherwise would be like comparing apples to oranges. The main advantage of owning Fisker shares is actually the stock price. The market never really took off on Fisker, except a few peaks that were quickly corrected. It seems to have a gravitational force around the $15 and $16 range, because investors want to see what happens with the actual product. This means that Fisker will be valued much more like a car manufacturer than a tech company. On one hand, it's a good thing, because at the very least, we know on which basis the company will be valued at. On the other hand, it also means that Fisker will not benefit from any significant speculative buying wave. Its future stock performance will be based on delivery numbers and the bottom line on their financial statements. The opposite of what I just described would be an EV company that is still in the infancy phase, during which time people are buying the stock not because they're in the company for the long run, but because they think that more people will pile in to buy their shares, which will allow the first shareholders to make a quick profit and then exit. I think that Fisker is no longer in this stage of development, that the market has definitely cooled down a lot since then. However, there are still opportunities in this uneasy time. If we look at the stock price right now, it's been lower than most of its existence since the company went public. In other words, if you hold Fisker stocks now, I would argue that you have a higher chance of turning a profit than many other EV stocks. Sometimes the arguments are that simple and mindless. It's a buy because it's cheap. It's cheap because the market isn't hyped up. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good opportunity for us. Technically, Fisker is the same company compared to when it was at $32. It just had more people buying. That is it. If you believe in the potentials of Fisker, and if you want to diversify your exposure of your EV portfolio, then Fisker at the current stage is a good option to consider. It's possible that within the next few weeks, another event will send Fisker stock into the high 20s, or even more. If that were to happen, I would recommend to sell the position and pocket the profit. Then, if you choose to do so, re-enter the position with the profit so that your position will become risk-free. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel.